One of the interesting things about the U.S. is its understanding and interpretation of its own history, and in particular, its founding back in the 18th century. Kids generally, and the average American, have a very straightforward understanding of their country being established at that time by a bunch of heroic men who represented the entire local American population and fought for freedom against an evil tyrant overseas, which is a great and straightforward story of heroes that you can clearly communicate to young people and then celebrate thereafter, especially when the war ended up in your favor. But I think the reality on the ground was actually very different at the time, and something is lost when that is not well understood. The average person at the time was someone who very much perceived themselves, identified as a British citizen. That's what they were. That's what their parents had been. Their grandparents lived in a culture that was an entirely Anglo-centric culture, obviously, and the people who began to rebel were very much a minority and a group that frightened and concerned most of the other Americans at the time. The war ebbed and flowed, and things were going on elsewhere in the empire clearly, and the focus of the British government and its military ebbed and flowed also. But what transpired clearly was a remarkable success for those rebels. What happened to the so-called loyalists, or those Americans, the neighbors, even family members of the rebels or patriots, is an interesting thing to consider. The people who had not been on the winning side, as is often the case, were essentially run out of the country, and their land and assets and well-being taken from them and distributed to those who were on the winning side. Now that's the story of probably all warfare, and a large purpose of warfare in and of itself, if we're honest about it, as a power grab and a land grab and a resource grab. The truth is, a lot of people were run out of the country, and founded the neighboring country here of Canada. So it's an interesting story, one that I think deserves more attention, especially the irony of our romanticization of rebels as heroes now in the time today, when any group of rebels, depending on your side, can be either heroes or terrorists, and we see those terms bandied around all the time in the media and in the news. But just an interesting way to think about this country and its celebrations every 4th of July, and how kids are taught.